My name is James C. Ellaby, spoken word artist, author, and welcome to the 7th Annual Independent Authors Book Expo. So let us begin. We are superheroes. We are superheroes. So let no one steal your cape. Let there be no mistake, you have superpowers. You can soar above pain like the Falcon. You can punch holes in fears like Luke Cage. And no matter what people may say, the bulk of your power is inside you. It wasn't manufactured in a lab. You're not a mutation. You're a physical manifestation of something glorious, something majestic. You too can control storms like Storm. You were born beautiful, powerful, gifted, uplift your soul. Your neighborhoods are your Wakanda, and you are Black Panther. So save your fellow Avengers. Your name is Isaiah Bradley, the first Captain America. Like you were the first to create civilizations, one of God's greatest creations on this earth. So take back your birthright, Esau. Climb, claw, fly your way out of the abyss. Assist anyone in despair. Dare to be incredible. Dare to be fearless, lest you be defeated by your own weakness. Secure your secret identity. The world doesn't need to see. Sometimes great things are done in secrecy. But most importantly, never give up. Tired of injustice, then decide enough is enough. Turn words into actions, dreams into goals. Hold yourself accountable, for the world needs you. Evil never sleeps. It wreaks havoc, disenfranchised lives, and will always live in a lie. Be the proof in truth. Be bulletproof. Be someone's lifesaver. Let no one steal your cape. Make everyday adventure, venture to uncharted places. Pace yourself. Don't exhaust all your powers in one time. Even Jesus had to recharge. Be larger than life, like being the source of change. Put on your game face. For the race is not for the swift, but for the one that endures to the end. You too will bend spoons with your mind. Combined with like-minded forces, you got a course to your destiny. Believe you can. Believe you must. Trust in your maker. For who's going to show her that her life is worth more than a reality TV show contract? Who's going to show him a gang is no place to find a father figure? Your purpose is bigger than you. Your superpowers are not meant for you. They're meant for your family, your neighborhood, your community. For everyone wants to be super. Everyone wants to be special. But be the change. Be the difference. Be superheroes. For God's sakes, just be. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. You can support me at jamescellaby.com and also get my album, my spoken word musical album, Pulsar. But today, some lucky winner will get a digital copy of my album. Three special winners, actually, will get a digital copy of my album. If you can guess the superhero that I mentioned in my poem, that is the first Captain America. If you're three that can answer that, then you get a free copy. Just put it in the comments and claim your prize. Thank you and enjoy the rest of this book experience.
See, let's start over. Welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. We'd like to invite you to our virtual 7th annual Independent Authors Book Expo. My name is Renee Smith, and I am the CEO and founder of the Independent Authors Book Experience. We are a nonprofit organization that promotes and empowers independent authors through various events, thereby promoting literacy for all ages. We're so excited to be able to host this event at this time in the midst of all that is happening right now. We're grateful to God that we can still offer this opportunity to authors to share their works and meet a wider audience. We have an awesome lineup for you today with authors featured in fiction, nonfiction, children's books, and poetry genre. We have presentations, a panel discussion, prizes, and surprises. We hope you'll stay for the entire event and share this literary experience with us. If you have children's ages 1 through 13, we invite you to visit our Zoom room where there are activities. We have Jeopardy, scavenger hunts, arts and craft to keep them engaged. We will also have authors reading from their books. You will see the links in the chat where you can make a selection for whichever author or activity that your child would like to um, attend. Without further ado, we will start the program. And I would like to introduce to you the children's book authors. First up, we have Avalon Brown, author of Mommy, Why Do I Have a Cold? Welcome, Avalon.
Hi,
How are
good
you?
afternoon. I'm doing great. How are you?
Excellent. And our next author is Mr. T.L. Wynn, and he's the author of Daddy and Me.
Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much for popping in with us. Um, we wanted to just start by just asking you a few questions. Avalon, can you just tell us a little bit about your book?
Yes, my book is about a little girl that wants to go to school, but her mommy's not letting her go to school because she has developed a cold. And the little girl wants to know why does she have a cold and where does the cold come from? So the mother gets the nana to come and give her some pointers or things that might have caused her to have this cold.
Okay, thank you. And Trent, I wanted to call you TL. Trent, can you tell us a little bit about your book?
Yes. Well, I have a book series. It's my daddy daughter series about myself and my daughter. They're just great stories that and detail the anticipation of a little girl that's excited to spend the day with her dad. So it dictates different events that we go, whether we're going to the park or just hanging out together. So that's what this series is about.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit about what's your inspiration for writing this book?
My inspiration for the first book, when my daughter was young, as a single father, it was very difficult for me to find books that detailed our relationship. So a daughter and a father relationship together. So when she was maybe 2 or 3 years old, I just one day just started writing and thought it would be a great idea of working on a project that she could one see herself in, because it's very important for children to be represented in the books that they read, but also be able to have a book that she can be a part of as well.
Absolutely. And similarly, Avalon, because I know we should give you your title, Nurse Avalon. Uh, what is your inspiration for writing the book? I think I can guess, but let us know.
Yes, a school teacher that I met at one of your previous book expos that I was attending happened to ask me, do I ever think about writing children books in under my profession? And I never did. And then, by her asking me that question, it got me to thinking. And so I've been inspired and been writing children books since then. So I have a couple of children books out now.
Okay. Okay. Can you share? And I guess what would be, if you could give an aspiring children's book author one advice, what would that be?
Well, I think, you have to look into yourself and see what kind of creativity that you have, that you can, write about different children or things that children are interested in, or like I did, things that was in my profession. So,
Okay.
that's one way that you can write a book, write a children's book.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you the same thing, Trent. What be an advice, one advice that you'd give to aspiring children's writers or children's
Uh,
authors?
yeah, well, I just think it's very important to, like she said, finding something that you're passionate about. I think books come from passion. It's all about something that you're excited to write about, and then just going from there. Everybody has a story, whether it's something that's relatable to you or that someone else could relate to as well. So just being able to share whether your personal experience or other experiences from others, I think is very important to do that.
Yeah, and I myself am a children's book author. I have 5 children's books, and one of the things that I do like to do 3 things. To entertain, inform, and inspire. So those are my 3. Once I hit those 3 pointers in my books, I feel like I can make a difference in a child's life or whoever picks up that book to read. So that is really, I can definitely identify with that. Is there anything that you guys are working on right now?
Well, I have another book that's came out not too long ago, called That Needle Is Not For Me. It's
Oh,
about another child where she goes to the doctor just to find out that she has to get a vaccine, and she's not happy about getting that vaccine, and her and the doctor are going back and forth. He has to convince her to get this vaccine, otherwise she cannot go back to school. So, yeah, this is another book that's just come out also.
that would be me. That would be me, that little girl. 'Cause the needle is not for me. I can tell you that much. Trent, are you working on anything right now?
Yes, I'm actually wrapping up my Daddy Daughter series. So with my 3rd book, I'm just finished that. So hopefully that will be ready to be released. Hopefully by the fall. So maybe around October, November, it'll be ready to be released then.
Okay, so just in time for the holiday season.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I'm going to ask you guys one question, because a lot of the times people ask, how do you, they want to write, what should they use? Um, Pen and paper or computer? How do you start your when you start your projects to write?
I tend to use the computer right away.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
You find it easier. What about you, Trent?
I'm a pen and paper type of guy. I start off because the ideas come from wherever, anywhere. So I could just be doing something and then get the idea. So I have to go write it down. So I'm definitely a pen and paper. Then eventually it graduates to the computer.
Okay, I'm the same way. I'm a pen and paper, and then I graduate to the computer, because then you can move things around. But if you
Absolutely.
see my notebook, it has arrows and stars, one and two. It goes over here, and I flip the pages back and
Absolutely.
forth. So definitely, I completely get that piece. So before we wrap up, can you just tell us, where can we find your books?
Well, my book is available on Amazon. You can also get it on my website, which is author.avalonsb.com.
Okay, all right, excellent. Trent?
All right. Both my books that I have out, Daddy and Me, Daddy's Day at the Park, are both available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com, as well as my website, www.imeinitiative.com.
Excellent. So we want to thank our children's book authors. They will also be reading to us in the Zoom room. If you had registered, you would have received the links for these authors, these amazing authors, Miss Avalon Brown and Trent Wint. We want to thank them again for being here with us. And if you don't catch their information, you can definitely check out our website, www.iabx.org, to find out more information about them. And again, their books are available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. But definitely go to the Zoom room. We'll put that information in the chat. So definitely go to the Zoom room. You will hear these authors read at 3 o'clock from their books that they have written, Daddy and Me, as well as Mommy, Why Do I Have a Cold? Thank you again, authors. We really appreciate you being here with us.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for
much
having
for
me.
having us.
All right, take care. Okay, so as you're transitioning, we just want to say thank you to the authors. And coming up, we have the presentation by Miss Sue Toth, and we will have the introduction by Ruth, who is one of the IABX board members.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope we're already having a great experience here on the Independent Authors Book Expo. We're glad you've joined us today, and I have the honor and the privilege of introducing our first presenter for today, Sue Toth. And it's my privilege because I'm not just, I love the English language, but I'm a language major, so I just love language in general, and using language, whether it be poetry or in writing. I just enjoyed the creativity that you can do with language. So I'm excited to introduce you today. And Sue Toth has been a lover of the English language for as long as she has been able to read. She has spent her entire career writing and editing, or teaching others how to write and edit. Sue is currently the founder and owner of Sue Toth Writing and Editing Services. She specializes in collaborating with fiction and nonfiction to turn books into ones that readers can, just can't put down. Like, you enjoy reading, you must enjoy reading. So to try and instill her love of words on future generations, Sue teaches journalism at Bergen Community College, where she's the advisor to the school's newspaper, The Torch. She also teaches writing in County College of Morris. Sue, welcome to the Independent Authors Book Experience.
Thank you so much, Ruth. That was such a lovely introduction. I appreciate it. Can everybody hear me? Ruth, can you hear me okay?
Yes, certainly.
Okay, terrific. And I just wondered if the PowerPoint is available so we can put, there we go. Okay. All right. So today we are going to talk about why you need an editor. And it's been my experience that a lot of people feel like they don't necessarily need an editor. And I'm here to tell you that there are a lot of reasons why you do. So if we could flip to the next slide. Okay, so here's a couple of reasons, really important reasons why you need an editor. The first one is you're too close to your work and you're too much in love with it. Think about this. You're typing a sentence and in your head, you know what the sentence was supposed to say, but then sometimes you might look at it later and perhaps a word is missing. You might not notice that because in your head, you knew what that sentence was supposed to say. However, it's not there when someone else reads it. So that's one reason why you need an editor. Sometimes you might repeat yourself. You might say the same things over and over again, and you need somebody to pick up on that and let you know. Maybe your plot has some holes in it or some inconsistencies, or maybe there's a problem with consistencies like eye color of a character or timing or something like that. These are all the things that an editor will pick up for you. When you're writing, you should be thinking about your presentation, the content of your story. You shouldn't be thinking about the grammar, the punctuation, any of that stuff. You want to stick with the story. So you'll need an editor to look at all that stuff for you afterwards. And the final reason, and the most important reason why you really need an editor, is because you don't want to get a bad review on Amazon. The problem is once you get one bad review, people are going to pass by your book, and you really do not want that to happen. So you want to make sure that your book is well edited so that people will give it good reviews. Okay, next slide. Okay, so a lot of writers are afraid of editors. They're afraid that an editor's just going to rip their story to shreds. An editor's going to take away their voice, all their going to do is hate everything and change everything. That is not what a good author-editor relationship should look like. If you have the right editor for you, here's a few things that you should get from your editor. Your editor should challenge you. He or she is not there to tell you everything is perfect, because in the first place, it's probably not. So you really want someone who's going to challenge you. But the challenges should be constructive and caring. You should not have to deal with criticism that is not constructive. Your editor should be critical. They should pick out the things that are problems and the things that need to be changed. But your editor should never be mean, and your editor will never, ever try to take away your voice, okay? Your editor should know your genre. So if you're writing historical fiction, you don't want a fantasy editor. If you're writing contemporary romance, you probably don't want a nonfiction editor, because you want someone who is really going to understand what it is that you are writing about. And the last piece that I think is the most important is that your editor needs to remember that this is your book. It's not the editor's book, it's your book. And you have the final say in the end. So if you are not happy with something your editor says, or you really feel like something that you want in there should stay in there, it's your book, and you should tell the editor, no, I don't like that change. I don't want to make it. Okay, next slide. All right. An important part of finding the right editor for you is to know what type of editing you need. And I want to talk briefly about the three main types of editing. The first one is developmental editing. This is, I will say, the most expensive and the most time consuming. It looks at your entire book. It looks at the really big picture of the book. How is the structure? How is the plot? Does the setting work? Do the characters work? Are the characters relatable? Are there plot holes? Are there inconsistencies? Have you repeated yourself? That's the one that takes the longest amount of time, and it will be the most expensive. The next one is copy editing. Copy editing is not as all-encompassing as developmental editing is. It will look into fact-checking, checking for inconsistencies, any huge typos. So let's say you're writing a historical fiction book, for example. You would want the historical facts of whatever time you're writing about to be correct. So like if you're writing about the Civil War, for example, you would want to make sure that all the facts about the Civil War are correct. So you would want somebody who would do that fact-checking for you. And the last one, and the easiest one, is proofreading. And this is really basic grammar, spelling, punctuation, anything that's going to hamper the reader's enjoyment of the book. So that's a person, an editor would look at that for you, make sure everything is spelled correctly, make sure that you have all the grammar, all the punctuation in the right place, make sure that you have paragraphs, enough of paragraphs so that people will know when your idea is changing. These are the three basic types, and it really helps you to find an editor if you know in advance what type of editing you are going to need. Okay, next slide. All right, so now we know all this about editors. How do you find one? How do you find the right person for you? It kind of seems sometimes like there's a million people out there who are editors, and anybody can put up a sign that says, hey, I'm an editor, I'll help you with your book. There's a few things that you should look for. The first place you want to look is if you belong to any writing groups, any critique groups, if you have beta readers, get referrals. No matter what you're doing, anytime you're looking for someone who you're going to be spending money with, you want a referral. You want to know that someone else has had a good experience with that person. And editing is no different. If you find the right person, that's a good way to do it. You don't want to just start searching on the internet for historical fiction editors. First of all, you'll be completely overwhelmed. And second of all, you don't know anything about these people. The next thing you're going to want to do is ask the editor to do a sample for you. Some editors may charge you for this, and if they do, what an editor will do is, if you decide to work with them, they will take that charge off the final bill for editing. Now, I will say that most editors will only edit up to about 1,000 words. That's not going to really work too well for developmental editing. They would need to read more. If you think you need a copy edit or a proofread, then that 1,000-word sample would work really well. For developmental editing, I would really suggest going the referral route. Another thing that I want you to remember is that the cheapest isn't always the best. In editing, it really is a case of you get what you pay for. A lot of people will look to go to places like Fiverr or Upwork or things like that. It's not always the best place to find an editor. I have to say, you have to be really careful with them because sometimes you just won't get the best work. However, if you find somebody that you like and the person seems kind of new and maybe doesn't have a lot of experience, it's not a bad idea to give a new person a chance. Perhaps they may charge a little bit less because they don't have the experience, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not good at what they do. Sometimes you'll find a new editor, and especially if you're writing a series and you find somebody to work with, you can start a really great relationship with an editor. My next slide just gives information on where to find me. If you can flip to the next slide. Whoever's listening to this, if you can go to iabx.org, we can and get your email address. I can definitely get you these slides so that you can, see more of what we talked about today, and you'll be able to find me if you'd like to. And I wonder, I'm not sure if we can do this, if there's any questions that anybody would want to ask, or is that not something, I'm not sure we can do that on this, in this format. All right. I see somebody saying hello and greetings. So if somebody has a question, I'd be happy to answer. All right, I'm seeing some comments, but yet no questions just yet. Anyone have any questions? A couple other things that I can tell you about editing. You wouldn't want to rush an editor. When you give somebody your book to edit, you really want them to take their time with it. So, it's not a good idea to say to somebody, here, my book is done, can you finish it in a week? Because that's not always going to happen, and you're not always going to get your best work when that happens. You really want to make sure that you give the editor the proper amount of time. Okay, I'm seeing that people can put questions in the chat. And the other thing is that oftentimes you may have to be put on an editor's waiting list. So again, make sure that you are not in a huge rush. Okay, I am being asked to wrap it up. So thank you, everyone. It was so wonderful talking, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Hey everyone, this is Michelle Drummond. I am the host for the giveaway segments throughout this program. I'm also a board member for IABX. So this is your first of 4 opportunities to win an amazing prize on behalf of IABX. The prizes include a package from one of our sponsors, Wawa, a tea basket, a spa basket, and also a package from one of our authors, Viola Robinson Boone. So here is how it works. What we've done, we've assigned a number to each registered participant, and we'll use a random number generator app to generate in the number. So if that number on the screen on my phone on the app matches the number assigned to the participant, then that participant is the winner for that prize for the segment. So the first prize up for grabs is the Wawa package. It contains a travel mug, a lunch bag, a towel, and a t-shirt. So here we go. I'm going to hit the button on the random generator app, and then we'll see which number pops up, and I'll let you know who is the lucky winner. So it is 15. Okay, number 15. Let's see who is the lucky winner here. And that person is Joycelyn Torres. Joycelyn Torres, you are the lucky winner. You've just won the package from Wawa, and you can claim your prize by contacting us at iabex@hotmail.com. That's iabex@hotmail.com. Your next opportunity is at 3 p.m. to win the spa basket. Yes, the spa basket. Up next is a presentation, a panel discussion. So I'll now turn you over to our host, Renee Smith. Okay, thank you, and continue to enjoy the program.
Hi, thank you, Michelle, for the giveaways. And we just want to thank our sponsors, Wawa and Columbia Bank, Team Vision International, Roselle Chamber of Commerce. We have quite a few sponsors, so we just want to say thank you to them. Up next, we have our panel discussion, and we have an awesome lineup here. We have Miss Dana, or I should say Dr. Dana Walker, the author of, hey, Dr. Walker, The New Normal in Culture of Education. Dr. Walker, can you just share a few words with us today?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Miss Smith. So great to see you. So this brief introduction about myself. I am a lifelong educator, which means I am both a lifelong teacher, perpetual teacher, no matter what my role is, as well as a learner. I have had the opportunity to serve the full gamut, just about from being a classroom teacher to being right up through the ranks as an assistant superintendent, where I had the opportunity to come within your great company and first see some of your wonderful children's books. I think it might have been your first one published back when I was in Roselle. I'm also doing some consulting work, and now I have joined the great ranks of being a published author.
Excellent, excellent. Our second panelist is Miss Lena Cohen-Hawkins, and she's the author of Brilliant Resilience. Welcome, Lena.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being on. I know today was a little rocky, but we're so happy that you're able to make it. So can you just tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So again, my name is Lena Cohen-Hawkins. I'm an international speaker. This is my 4th published book, so I'm super excited about it. I do a lot of work with companies on diversity and inclusion and emotional intelligence. So right now is a crazy, crazy time for me. And then I also work for the state of New Jersey. I do a lot of legislation work and a lot of work in the communities. And I have my own nonprofit, Women Operating in Opulence, where we help women through just financial education and understanding how we can not so much become financially stable, but really building wealth, like for the next generation. So I love what I do. I love helping people get from point A to point B, and I love talking about my experiences. So excited to share with you guys today.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. And we have to chat a little bit more about your nonprofit organization. That sounds like something very interesting.
Absolutely.
So Dr. Walker, I just want to ask you, because now is your book is such it's on point, just even with the title. So in your book, The New Normal Culture of Education, you give 7 recommendations as to the new normal in education. Can you share one of those recommendations with us today?
Certainly, thank you. We discuss everything, my co-author, Dr. Shay Biggs, and I, from whoever said change would be easy to tick, 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 with the clock always ticking, and toughen up your soft skills. So when I thought about this question for today, I think I'd like to focus on our chapter that is stand in place or get moving. So with the pandemic and the way it hit everybody, and of course I have to personalize it, the way it hit us in traditional education, it was a flood, and some districts were able to cope and to navigate, and some households a little more fluently and easily than other districts. And it's interesting because it's not as though technology and access could be considered new anymore. However, there had been options in education for so long, but we're currently at the point where you don't have any options. It's either, you think you're standing in place and perhaps waiting for this to pass. This being technology, it's not going to pass. It will evolve, it will change, we'll have different iterations and innovation with it, but it certainly is here to stay. So we kind of talk about there's no such thing as standing still. You're either moving forward or you're moving backward. And we really don't have the opportunity with our students at this point to choose the latter of moving backwards. So we capitalize on just some of our own personal experiences. Again, having served as an assistant superintendent, I am tech savvy. I can't say that I know everything, but we were able to do some things in some districts and kind of be in the forefront with creating, let's say everybody now knows Google Classrooms. Every parent has probably heard that at this point. But a few years back, I had already created Google Classrooms and professional development using that platform for both the administrators and the teachers and district-wide, with the goal that if you start to use these tools and you're a student of them, you'll be able to use them and be better prepared in the classroom. So that's just one of the tips, and kind of talk about the way I did it as an assistant superintendent. But we really, standing in place is not an option, and you don't want to be in quicksand at this point. So get moving.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely can attest to, you have to keep moving in this time frame, and even outside of the pandemic, you really have to keep moving because things are changing as we speak. So this is very important. And our panel, the topic for today is remaining optimistic, launching a book during COVID-19. And for you, Aline, I know your book was Brilliant Resilience, and I just wanted to what was your driving force for you to write the book, complete it, and publish the book during the pandemic?
That wasn't the plan. Let's just say that was not the plan. The concept and the teaching behind Brilliant Resilience, I had been speaking on for a while. And 2019, I said, you know what? I'm ready to write the book. And 2020 came, and I was like, okay, I have my outline. I'll get the book done this year. And then maybe early 2021, I'll start on the marketing, the campaign, the editing, and all of that.
Yeah.
March came.
Brick wall.
And, it shook so much of my life up, like it did everyone. And I'll never forget the weekend that everything shut down, March 13th. We were visiting my uncle, and he was in the facility because his health was getting worse and worse, and he had stopped eating. And I think in his mind, he knew it was his time. And then I eventually lost him. And I lost just everybody. We lost a piece of ourselves. We lost our daily lives, working. I lost so many speaking gigs. So many calls were coming in like, oh, this conference is canceled. This conference is canceled. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do financially? Just like everyone else, I had lost so much. And family that was sick. It was really dark. And so I had more time though, because I was home.
Yeah.
Get started on the book. Got started on the book, and a girlfriend called me out the blue. I hadn't talked to her in about a year, physically talked to her. We text chat online. And this is why being centered and being close with the universe, God, being in alignment is so key. She said, you know, you were telling me about a book last year you were going to write. She said, I don't know why God told me, but he just told me to tell you to put it out now. Don't wait.
Wow. That's powerful.
I shut my phone off 10 days straight from 9 to 5, and I wrote. And then for the following week, you know, in time went on, I was grieving and dealing with a lot of stuff. I was in depression, having anxiety. It was really bad. And, you know, when I got that call, it kind of woke me back up. Like, people need this book. The book truly saved my life. And one of the driving forces behind completing it was having a reason to get up every morning, having a reason to you know, tap back into my purpose, and having a goalpost to get something done, you know, and to shake myself out of that depression and the grief. So, you know, for me, it wasn't an option. I had to get it done.
That is so powerful, because and I could ask Dr. Walker the same thing. You know, what was your driving force for completing the writing and completing your book? Because, you know, Lena talks about she's coming from a very personal place in terms of getting the word out there, sharing. And I read your book, and there were so many nuggets in there. I was like, yes, I get it. Yes, that is so true. You know, you COVID hit, and you're just like, all right, I can't move. I'm just here. Just you don't want to get out of bed. You don't, dare I say, you don't even want to shower. You just want to just do nothing, you know. But when I read your book, I could definitely identify with a lot of the things that you wrote, and it was very powerful to see some of those things. So definitely. But Dr. Walker, what was your driving force to really write and get this book out during this time?
Thank you. Actually, kind of similar to Lena's. I don't have 3 prior books, but had always said, oh, I'd love to be an author. I'm going to write. Couldn't figure out exactly what I wanted to write. Education is what I eat, sleep, drink, and breathe. So I know that best, but couldn't decide if I would go with that strength or really be vulnerable and try something totally different. And I was sitting in the living room one morning, and I said, well, let me put something out there. And I started working on an article, and read it to my teenager and told her the title. And she was like, I don't know if what you're saying matches. It sounds a little bit more like culture. And my co-author, Dr. Shay Biggs, we hadn't seen each other for quite a long time, but we did meet up just prior to the pandemic and decided we would do some consulting together. She's now a retired educator, and I was trying to figure out if I want to stay in the traditional world or do something different. And I don't know if she texted me or called me, and she said, do you want to write a book? I was praying. She's a very prayerful woman. You dropped into my spirit. Do you want to write a book? I was like, yes, I do. I was working on an article, and she has published a few books. And she was like, great. Okay. We set up a shared Google document. We said, let's dump some things in. And we thought we would just do, but do an ebook, a little bit more than an article. And after a few weeks, we talked on the phone, and she's like, we have enough content here to publish. Let's keep adding to this. And it had been a goal of mine. I don't know if I ever shared it with her or not. And I said, okay, now's the time. So that's a little bit similar to you, Lena. So thank you for sharing, and thank you for the question.
Yes, and we have James on. He said, Lena, he had to hear your story. Thanks for sharing. You know, so there are a lot of people out there who can identify and who probably felt stuck. You know, I want to do something, but I'm stuck. You know, what's getting me to get out there and get up and do? So that, you know, that's really, I think it's hitting a lot of points for a lot of people. You sharing your story like that. And then, you know, you mentioned in the beginning when you introduced yourself that you've written, authored 3 other books. So is there a specific point in time in your life that you prefer to write about, or what's your inspiration? What inspires you, or what do you bring to your books?
I'm always first and foremost moved by the spirit. If I'm inspired by something, or I feel like it's time, I'll start writing. However, I personally believe that everybody, especially if you're in the speaking business, or if you're, if you'd like to be relevant, I think it's important to hit people with fresh content every 18 months or so. And that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a book, right? As long as it's something new and something fresh and something that keeps people on your, keeps you on other people's minds. But, I'm just moved by however I'm feeling, and I felt like people needed hope during this time. They needed to know that there was a light at the end of the tunnel, and they needed to know they have strength, that they will get through this, that they can get through this, and not just the pandemic. In the book, I talk about things that happened in my childhood, in past relationships, in my career. And we all need to have the capacity and the ability to understand that we can make it through, that this is just another chapter in your life, and you're going to make it through whatever it is, not just the pandemic, but any challenge that comes about in your life.
Yes, that is so true. I mean, it feels sometimes we think of the pandemic as, oh my gosh, it is what it is. But there's so many other points in your life that stop you, that you literally hit a roadblock. You just hit a brick wall, and you kind of snap back, like, oh my gosh, what's going on? So, I really liked your book because it was so heartfelt. And I also read Dr. Walker's book, The New Culture. And as I was reading, I was making all these notes. And, one of the things as we start school, and children are going back. And, I think last week was most students went back to school last week. And in some shape or form, whether virtual or hybrid. And Dr. Walker, know that you're the expert. What is your what do you think has been the biggest challenge for districts reopening?
That was a big exhale. Yeah, that was like, because we, speaking about the masses, are not really flexible, and we're not very patient, if I just have to talk in general terms about people. So this is forcing everyone to be flexible, to be patient, to be empathetic, and at the same time to be a learner, like you said, to do something. You can't sit back and do nothing at this time. You have to make a decision. You can't play you can play, you have to play every scenario that you can think of, but this is uncharted territory. When we talk about the new normal, this is unforeseen. We didn't predict it. So I've thought about everything from the difficulty as a parent, being a parent, to the difficulty of being an administrator, and the difficulties of the teachers and the students. So everybody owns their own level of discomfort in this particular time. So I tried to think about who does my heart go out to the most, which is, my natural instinct is the students. I'm always gravitating to them and looking at it from their perspective and trying to make sure they don't see it as a loss, trying to make sure that social emotional piece is not something that we as adults put on them, because you have to dig them out of it and help them to accept it, especially if it's something like their senior year or their freshman year in high school. All of these milestones that as a society we've created, and now they won't get to experience things the way they've heard the stories told and the way they've predicted it. And simultaneously, I think about the teachers, and I think about the labor and the intensity that is involved with being a teacher, managing a virtual world, if you weren't already well equipped, you have to become, it's on the job training for sure at this point. So many of us, this is like fresh, this could be 1994 straight out of Hampton University for me, because it's like something brand new. You don't necessarily have your footing, but you don't have a choice. We have to show up. We need for those teachers to figure out some people are teaching virtual students and students face-to-face simultaneously. So when you talk about how do I do this, where do I look, who do I attend to, it's a exercise in patience. And if you weren't a prayerful person before all of this, I venture to say you will be a convert, somewhere within the very near future, because it didn't end the way we thought it would. We could kind of get through the spring, but that was, a short-term situation. Now reopening is like a whole nother level of, wow, this is different, and I have to be proactive. We can't be reactive at this point. So I know that's I've hit a few points in that particular question, but I think that's, part of the difficulty of where we are and the truth of it. And you just have to wake up in the morning and get it going and learn from your experiences each day. Be very reflective. As we are as authors, this will require reflection on a almost minute by minute basis for educators and parents as they navigate it. And we have to teach those things to our scholars.
Yeah. And, I have 3 boys, and in 3 different scenarios. I have 2 boys in college and 1 just starting high school. So one's all virtual, one and the other 2 are hybrids. And it's just trying to navigate. And my high schooler he's logging in 2 days and going to school 2 days and logging in 3. And then you're trying to figure out, they had connectivity issues. So he's in school. The children are home, are having issues logging in. Okay, just do some assignments. So I know that's a whole big thing for students, for parents, technology. Those are things that we never prepared for. And as Dr. Walker mentioned, we were formerly from the same district, and I was on the board of education. And there's so many pain points for me, thinking about all the things that the children, the parents, the teachers, if you run it around in your head, you're kind of like you feel like you're beating the head against a wall sometimes. But really trying to navigate the system, really trying to keep up with it. And it's a good segue, because I think both of your books play off, because Lena, in your title, you have Brilliant Resilience, Building Resilience for Success. And I think right at this psychological point in time, we need to build resilience for success. And what exactly does that mean, and how can we parlay from life as well as in the educational world? How can we do that?
Yeah, so quick definition. When we think about resilience, we always think about bouncing back, right? We want to go beyond. Brilliance has 2 meanings, and the first is intellectually. So thinking beyond, I don't want to just go through an experience and bounce back. I want to be better. I want to be more educated. I want to be more experienced. And I want to learn from every single lesson that this challenge has presented to me. So I don't necessarily want to be bitter, but I want to be better after it's over, right? I don't want to just bounce back. I want to be better than I was wherever it is I started, right? So that's kind of the intellectual side, is really taking time to think, what is this challenge bringing into my life, and what am I supposed to gain from it?
Right.
The second part of brilliance, the definition, is to shine, right? We oftentimes forget that our children are watching us, our family is watching us, our neighbors, our friends, and we can inspire people just by moving through difficulty with grace.
Absolutely.
There has been times where I have said, okay, this person or that person, I want to get testimonials. Let me just see if I can get some testimonials from people. And sometimes people will say, honestly, just watching you go through life and the way that you handle things is inspiring. You know, and not that I have it all figured out, because I don't. I'm still trying to get there. But, you know, I work through things with a different level of confidence now that I've been through a little bit in life. So to have brilliant resilience not only means to learn from your experiences, but do so in a way that shines, that creates impact in your life, in your family's life, in your community's life.
Right.
If we're thinking about education-wise, oh my gosh, I wouldn't even know where to start. I'm an expert in education field. I personally feel like our education system is extremely outdated, and so many things need to change. But you know, just possibly moving through it day by day, and like she said, having the flexibility to grow.
Right.
We want this instantaneous thing, like it's supposed to be perfect, and nobody knows what's right to do right now in terms of the education system. Nobody knows which system works, and I feel so concerned about the teachers, because a lot of them are still going to be judged based off of their, you know, based off the children's ability to learn, and it's how can kids learn the same in this environment? So I am not going to try to take that question because I have to be honest with myself, and I think we all have to have strength and look back at what we've done and how much we've accomplished, and understand that we can make it through this too. But yeah, just flexibility and being able to learn and grow through the process.
Yes, absolutely. I think that may be the word, to be flexible and to be able to. One of the words that I learned during this whole pandemic is to pivot.
Yeah.
You know, being able to pivot. Something you get to pivot and you got to turn again. You got to turn again. You know, you just keep making that change so that you can hit the right points. You know, and make sure that you can do the thing that's going to make the most impact. And be impactful. I was reading Dr. Walker's book. In the book, it asks the question, actually it's on the cover, will COVID-19 cure education's pandemic? Lena just touched on it a little bit. She said it's a little antiquated, it needs work. And you know, in the title, you trademarked it, education's pandemic. You know, since writing this book, do you think we have come closer to the answer to will COVID-19 cure education's pandemic?
I think we are moving in the right direction. I do agree. And it kind of came to us that there's health crisis, yes, and that was an immediate pandemic. But as far as education's pandemic, we've really been in a bit of a crisis in certain communities with certain populations for years. I could say forever, but if I had to pinpoint a moment in time, we kind of start in the book with the 1983 A Nation at Risk report. So from that time, at least documented within the realm of everybody who's probably still within teaching, although there are some who've preceded the 80s still in education, we needed to do things differently. And maybe this is the force. Maybe this will be the impetus. We can no longer leave certain students behind. I don't want to go into No Child Left Behind, but when you talk about the opportunity gap and you talk about the achievement gap, at this point in time, it is now for everybody, also because of social media, very visible that we can no longer accept saying, well, certain people don't have connectivity. Certain families don't have access to a laptop. What if you don't? What if you don't? What if you don't? All of those things now are in everyone's face. And if it wasn't already on your radar, it is forcing a change, albeit gradual, as Lena said. As an educator, I know for sure it's not going to happen overnight. It hasn't happened over the decades, even when we've had a push for innovation and technology. But will COVID-19 cure education's pandemic? We might get a little vaccine out of it. We may be in a situation where we can operate a little more effectively. as we move through this, but certainly as I'm always looking for the good, we're going to pivot, we're going to be stronger. Students and families who didn't have or didn't understand are now forced to understand, as well as teachers and educators and lawmakers and policymakers, that it's non-negotiable at this point. We don't have an option for every single child to be able to learn at high levels through multimedia. And not saying that a computer is a panacea, because it's not. It's what we're living through and, you know, utilizing it as a device, but it is forcing a change.
Yeah.
Maybe not a cure, but a change.
Change. And someone had asked, the title of Dr. Walker's book is The New Normal Culture of Education. Will COVID-19 cure education's pandemic? So I just wanted to just drop that in. And someone else in the chat mentioned, you know, that some of the children may miss some milestones because of this, the way we are being forced to educate them at this time. So it's going to be a little bit tricky. We really have to keep a close watch on how children are. Yes, it feels like children may miss out on many milestones from Diamond Rednall. This new way of things is intimidating, and you have to look at resources that exist and be open to new ways to keep things stress-free for children. So, again, building resilience. We have to build resilient children so that they can move on to the next. It's not just about this time, but it's about 5, 10, 15 years down the line. How are they going to be able to manage in this new normal situation? You know, it's going to be a little bit different. Wrapping up, but I wanted to ask you, are you working on any other books? I know your books just came out, but, you know, sometimes, you know, now that you've broken the spell, Lena, what's your new book? Do you have a new book, an idea for a new book to come out?
The way my life's set up, I probably have about 10 more books than me. I don't know. I don't have anything in the immediate works, but there are still lots of stories to tell and lots of ways to motivate, inspire, and help people get through.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now, Dr. Walker, since you've got that first one out, are you excited for this number 2, number 3, number 4? Congratulations.
Thank you. I am very excited. It was definitely a personal, lifelong goal, just something on that list of, you know, I want to be an author. So I do have, you know, a lot more. As Lena said, there are many stories and situations. There are some easy springboards going on right now in education. So I'll have to decide whether or not Dr. Biggs and I will do, we did intentionally call this volume 1 because we didn't know what was going to happen and we wanted to get some information out there. So we may either follow some districts or some people. So we've had conversations about what may happen next. And then I may just go off, you know, in a different direction and try something else now that I know I can do it and be supported by friends and family and myself. So there should be something. I don't know what.
I'm excited to see whatever it is that you have coming forward. And we've been asking the authors, so paper, pen and paper or computer?
Is it a cheating? Can all of the above? Can we say both? No, we can't say both. No.
Which one do you start with? So what do you start with?
I have notebooks and pads and papers in every, much to the chagrin of my family, room in this house, you know. So I end up starting there. I'm trying to type things, you know, you just use the computer and get organized that way. But I love the feel of notebooks and sticky notes and highlighters and arrows and all of those things. So Dr. Biggs and I did do everything for the most point, really just dropping it in the shared Google Drive. But as far as editing, that's all paper, read aloud process for me. Okay. How about you, Lena?
I'm an outline girl, so I always start with pen and pad and do an outline and make sure I get it out. I think that's one of the biggest challenges. People ask me for advice all the time. I'm just say, write the book, write the book. All the other stuff comes later. But do all my outlines, pen and pad, and then once I kind of have an idea, then I'll take it to my computer.
Okay, excellent. So I just want to say thank you to you ladies for, sharing this time with us and sharing your thoughts and talking about your books. We really appreciate you. It's been a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed yourself. We had some people in the audience. I just want to say, Dr. Walker, we got a note from Reverend Turner to say congratulations from Second Baptist. We are proud of you. So we just want to say thank you again. And just so you know, the ladies, your books are available on Amazon.
Yes, they are.
Yes, Lena has her books behind her, and I have my copies. Here. I'm very excited, and I've read them both. So it's a very good read. Please, you need to go out and get these books. The New Normal Culture of Education for Educators. If you want a book, it's a very good read, and there are a lot of tips. You see my notes, stickies in the book, and Lena's book. I had to pull them apart because I couldn't see the side of the book because there was just so many stickies and so many notes. But brilliant resilience, building resilience for us to say thank you, ladies, and we wish you all the best, and we will see you soon. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you so much for being here. And here are their information, Miss Lena Cohen-Hawkins and Dr. Dana Walker, and she co-authored the book with Dr. Shay Biggs.
Hey everyone, Michelle Drummond here again. Mrs. Claus, you could call me. I'm the host for this segment, the giveaway segment throughout this program. This is your second opportunity to win a prize, and the prize up for grabs for this segment is a spa basket. And who doesn't like to go to the spa? Now you can win your own spa basket. So here's how it works again. We've assigned a number to each registered participant, and I'll use this random number generator app on my phone to generate a number. The number that matches, the number that's assigned for a participant that matches the number on my app is the participant is the winner of this segment. Okay, so let's see who is the lucky person to win this spa basket. I'm gonna hit the button on my generator, and it's 66, Route 66. So let's see who's the lucky winner. And here we go, drum roll. Godfrey Floyd. Godfrey Floyd, you are the lucky winner for this spa basket. Please contact us at iabx@hotmail.com to claim your prize. That is iabx@hotmail.com to claim your prize. Your next opportunity to win is after our next segment at 3:21. So please stay tuned and continue to enjoy the program. Up next is our nonfiction genre group session. So I'll just turn it over to our host, Renee Smith. See you soon.
Hi, welcome back. I hope you're enjoying yourself. I hope you were able to you enjoy the panel discussion. Right now, we're going to feature our nonfiction authors. Our first up is Mr. Casey Bell, and his book is To College or Not to College. Welcome, Casey.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Excellent. And we would like to introduce our next author, Dr. Lalit Narula, and his book is titled Trending Psychology.
Namaste.
Namaste. And I would just like to say that Dr. Lalit Narula is tuning in all the way from India. So yes. Thank you. And we just want to mention Mohit, his son. He's been very instrumental in participating. So we want to say thank you to Mohit as well.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Our other author is Nicey Wells.
Hello.
And she's the author of Mood, and she's our young author, right? Welcome, Nancy.
Thank you.
Last but not least, we have Terry Shaw, and her book is The Power of ABCs. So we just want to welcome all our authors here. Hi, Terry. So
Thank you.
we're just going to get right into it. And we'll just ask each author, we're going to start with you, just to tell us a little bit about your book.
To College, Not to College is a two-part book. The first section, To College, teaches you what you should do before, during, and after college. And the second section, Not to College, is what you should do if you don't go to college, other ways of being educated.
Excellent. Dr. Lalit, can you just give us a little bit of information about your book?
Well, my book is about human psychology and human mind, its function and its structure, and the various components that interact with each other to make us behave the way we do.
Okay,
I was
thank
greatly
you. And
inspired.
Terry?
Yeah,
Oh, oops. Sorry, Dr. Lalit.
it's okay.
Terry?
I was greatly inspired by the writings of Carl Gustav Jung, who about 100 years ago gave us some fundamentals about the structure and function of the human mind. I have presented those facts in a very concise and useful manner in my book.
Okay, thank you so much. Terry, can you tell us a little bit about your book?
Sure, absolutely. So my book is called The Power of ABCs, A Guide to Unlock Your Inner Saba, the Maya Cosmic Tree. And it talks about the different experiences that we've all encountered in life. And I use the Saba tree as an analogy of how we can transcend those rooted experiences that have kind of transformed us and rise to the branches of, empowerment, love, faith, and acceptance, and learn how we can overcome the trials in our life if we understand that we are here for a purpose and we can move forward if we choose to.
Excellent. And Nicey, can you just tell us a little bit about your book?
Sure. So my book is called Mood, and it's all about my high school's culture and what it's like being a high school student. I'm Generation Z, so this book is all about what people my age could relate to, kind of like the clothes that we wear, the words that we say, our slang. So it's basically all about being a teenager in high school.
And I have two of those. I have two teenagers, so I think I probably should read your book so I can communicate with my children. So I just want to find out, for Casey, what kind of research did you do for your book? Because you talk about to college or not to college. So what is it? What kind of research was done for your book?
A lot of it was experience from me going to college, and the rest of the research was done basically online. I researched a lot about other options of education. And actually during the process, I found a lot of things about college, such as there are 7 colleges in America that are completely free. You pay nothing. Learning about getting your money back. If you pay for college yourself, at the end of the year, the government gives you back that money in taxes. So it was a lot of online research that I found out, not only about college, but also about not going to college. Things about like doing trade schools and things of that nature. So mostly online.
And I think now is a very pivotal time, because there are a lot of people who are making that decision, in light of the pandemic. Should I go to college now, or should I stay home? And if I stay home, what am I going to do? So I think this is a good book for them to pick up to see, what will I do if I don't go to college? So you don't miss a year. I think that would be a good book for people. Dr. Lalit, in your book, because your book, it talks about trend in psychology, what kind of research went into putting this book together?
Well, my spiritual guru was Carl Gustav Jung, and he has written a lot about human psychology, and his writings run into no less than 19 large volumes. And from all those books written by him, I did my research.
Okay. How long did it take you to and
Well,
what was the
it took me
hardest
quite.
part?
The hardest part was to understand the difficult concepts given by the author, who
Okay.
was writing something which was not written before in his times. And even now,
Okay.
his concepts are accepted all over the world. They are difficult to understand, but if you put large amount of labor and power of understanding, you can go through that and
Okay.
understand that.
Excellent. Good. And just to piggyback, because you mentioned doing a lot of work. So Nicey, as a young author, you are our youngest author. What would you what advice would you give for young aspiring authors?
I would say instead of just saying like, I want to write a book, I want to write a book, I would tell you to actually just do it. That's what I did when I had a discussion with my mom about that. And I said I wanted to write something. So I planned out exactly what I wanted to do. And I started by writing the actual book, getting my cover done, publishing it. And it worked out perfectly fine. So my advice would be just to start, just get started.
That is I couldn't even say it any better. Just do a Nike stick and say just do it. Don't wait. I think a lot of the times we kind of hang back, and you're waiting for the moon to change color. I don't know, all these different things, but the whole thing is just to go ahead and just do it. For Terry, can you how did you get interested in writing in this particular genre, in the nonfiction world? Because and maybe you can just explain to, I'm putting you on the spot to explain to the listeners, what is nonfiction?
So, the way I got started to write in this particular genre was I sometimes say by chance quotation, but nothing is by chance. I believe I do feel that everything there's a reason for everything. And I got started because of my own life experiences, and this is what the Power of ABCs is about. It's about my own life experiences and also the experiences of others, and some of them we want to call daunting experiences. Some that we wish we wouldn't remember, or we put at the back of our subconscious mind, and we try to forget them. But somewhere along the line in our life, they will resurface in our repeated experiences, and so the way I got to writing this nonfiction is because I needed a change in my life, and that prompted me to inspire change in other people's life as well. So it's a matter of getting down to the nitty-gritty about how much truth do I need to put into this book to make it nonfiction, because it is my life experiences. And
Right.
nothing about what we go through is a fiction. A lot of this pandemic, everything that's happening is quite real, and it's a reality, and we have to face it. But the key
Yes.
important thing is, how do we overcome them? And this is why I use a tree as an analogy, because the roots are what makes us, right? But do we always stay at the roots of a tree? No, we continually grow and expand beyond the trunk and to the branches. We learn to expand and rise up to the sun and realize that we are more powerful than our experiences. And so this
Absolutely.
is how I came particular in this type of genre and writing to inspire others.
Okay. That's beautiful. And I think, everybody who writes a book, that's your desire to share with your readers a little bit of you and a little bit of something else. And in that vein, I'm just going to go around the room. Casey, are you working on anything right now? Do you have any
Yes,
new
I am.
projects?
I am working on a children's book series called American History. It's 8 books right now. It might be 9. 3 of them have been already published. The 4th one will be published in November, and they'll all be published by the end of 2022. It's a children's book on inventors and innovators that the school system ignores.
Oh wow, excellent! I'm looking forward to that. And we connect you with Dr. Walker and Dr. Shea Diggs, the educators in the group,
Okay.
right?
Thanks.
Dr. what are you working on now? What's your next project?
Well, I intend to bring out the next edition of my book, in which each chapter will be much more descriptive, so that each chapter becomes a book in itself.
Okay, excellent. And I think, there's so much that we can learn from in terms of the psychology of what's going on. There's so much behind it.
Yes.
So I look forward to reading your book, Dr. Lilith.
Thank you so much.
Nice. What are you working on now, Nicey?
So right now I'm working on the sequel to Mood. So Mood was about, I wrote that in my junior year, but for the sequel, I wanted it to be about my senior year. So the way that I did it was I just went about my school year and I would come back home and I would write down what happened that day. So it's kind of like a diary, but then COVID came in. So it's kind of like detailing my regular life and then my life with COVID.
Oh, nice. Terry, can you tell us or give us a little hint of what you're working on next?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So the power of ABCs, as you heard, ABCs is literally the alphabet. And the name of the series is called the Inner Soul Alphabet series. So I'm currently working on the second book called KLM, which is really about claiming back your life. And it's all about transcending and overcoming. And there are 9 different steps, ancient techniques that I'll be teaching and how you can do this, taken from different mythologies and cultures.
Oh, nice. And you may not, we've been going around the room, but we keep skipping over Mohit, and he's here with his dad. Mohit is in California and his dad is in India, but we want to just ask Mohit, because he's been an integral part of the whole thing. What has been your experience helping your dad during this process?
Hi, so I'm the illustrator of the book. I designed the cover and a lot of images which are in the book. And I think my experience has been surreal. It's an honor to help my father write his first book and publish it out of the gates. And I think the hardest part that I felt about illustrating his complex concepts was understanding the mind. Like, in order for me to draw something which is meaningful, I had to understand what consciousness is, what is unconscious, what is personal unconscious, what is collective unconscious, how is the mind structured, what is why is there an ego, how to and how everything is put together. And as you can see in chapter 3, which is structure of mind, I think the readers would enjoy the simplicity of the diagram. And I hope everyone enjoys and gets to learn more about the subject.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mohit. And as we've been asking all the authors before, can you tell us, Casey, or I should say, Casey, what, paper and pen or computer?
Computer.
Okay.
Definitely computer.
Dr. Lilith, do you use pen and paper or
computer?
Computer?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna ask Mohit. Mohit, paper and pen and paper or computer?
Definitely a computer. I use Adobe Illustrator for all my illustrations, so definitely a computer.
Okay. Nicey?
Pen and paper.
Pen and paper. Girl after my own heart. Terry?
Definitely going with Nicey, pen and paper.
Okay, so the women are going with pen and paper, and the men are going with the computer. Sorry, we had to split up people.
Sometimes the old ways are the best.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. You know what? Let's give a check for Mohit, because he knows that he needs to side with the ladies at this point. Because thank you, Mohit.
My pleasure.
And just as we're going around, we just want to say, where can you find your books? Can you just tell us where, Terry? Can you tell us where your books are available?
Sure. My book is available on terryshawinspires.com. It is also available if you're in the Netherlands region in Amsterdam. It's also in the ABC bookstore, bookstore called ABC, and also in Amazon.com as well. It has 27 reviews and counting, so please grab a copy.
Oh, nice. Nicey?
You can find my books on Amazon.com and Google Play Books.
Casey?
Amazon, Barnes & Noble's website, and you can or go to my website, authorcaseybell.com.
Excellent. And Dr. Lalit?
My son is doing the marketing. Mohit, you can tell them.
The book is available on Amazon, Google Play Bookstore, Barnes & Noble's online, and for European and Asian markets, we have books available on Kobo and Rakuten.
Oh, excellent. So we just want to thank all our nonfiction authors. We really appreciate you. Thank you for, sharing this time with us. And I know it's probably like midnight with where Dr. Larula is. So we thank you for spending this time with us and staying up and not nodding off. So thank you so much. And if you want to learn more about the authors, they have their websites. They mentioned their websites, but if you didn't catch that, you can visit us at iabx.org and you can find their information there. Thank you so much, authors, for spending this time with us. And please go out and support them, buy their books, To College or Not to College, Mood, Trend in Psychology by Dr. Lalit, Mood by Nicey Wells, The Power of ABCs by Terry Shaw. And we just thank them for being here.
Hello again, everyone. This is Michelle Drummond, host of the giveaway section. I'm a computer person myself. So, I guess I'll be siding with the men from the last segment to capture my thoughts, immediately capture my thoughts. Okay, so for this segment, the prize is a tea basket. So all you coffee drinkers, it's probably time to convert to drinking tea. We have a tea basket with an assortment of herbal teas to give away. Again, how this works is that we've assigned a number to each registered participant, and then I'll use this random number generator app to generate a number. If the number assigned to that participant matches what's generated, then you are the winner. So here we go. The number is 30. So let's see who the lucky winner is today for this tea basket. Drum roll, David Tamanini. Oh, wow, that's a great name. David Tamanini, you are the winner of the tea basket for this section. Okay, your next opportunity to win, which is the fourth and last opportunity, will be at 3:50 after the fiction genres group session. And next up, we have the financial presentation by Sonia Ashley. So I'll turn it over to Sonia. Welcome, Sonia.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Welcome, and thank you again for allowing us to be a part of this amazing opportunity, this amazing show today. Thank you so much for our hostess, Miss Renee Smith. And at this time, I would love to have our presentation set up, and we will move forward. We're going to talk today about how money works. And we are going to be sharing how you can make it work for you. So at this time, as we jump into this selection or to this presentation, just know that this is coming as an excerpt from a book, a actual ebook that will be available to you via Facebook and or via connecting with us afterwards. So next slide, please. We are going to be able to give you these concepts, but today I'm just going to talk about them briefly, just a few of them. There's many more pages in the book, but we want to make sure that you have some brief understanding. So at this time, if I can have the next slide, the name of the book is How Money Works. You can get out of debt and you can build savings and you can get on the path of financial independence. As we've listened to the other authors today, the key to life right now, especially in this day and time, is to be encouraged that you can do things, okay? You can do something amazing in this season and in this time. Next slide, please. You can take control. I know, and again, with us being in this situation, it feels like we're out of control, but we actually can take control of our circumstance and our situation, and especially in the financial arena. Next slide. So one of the things, these are 7 things you can take control of. You can pay yourself first. You can adjust your priorities. And definitely COVID has made us all think about adjusting our priorities. We've changed our thinking when it comes to money. We can adjust our lifestyle. And again, we've got an ideal opportunity now to adjust our lifestyle because we're being forced to adjust our lifestyle. Eating out as we used to do is not as available as it has been in the past. We can earn additional income. Right now, there are a lot of opportunities available online and in other ways to make additional income. Avoid the credit trap. This is an ideal time to reduce your credit exposure and to increase your credit score, and set goals and have a plan. Next slide, please. Pay yourself first. If never has been a better time to pay yourself first. Next slide. If you look at what you've earned over your working lifetime, and this is just a short formula, if you calculate how much you've earned and how much you've actually saved. So if you look at the average income, let's say your average income was $40,000 and you've been working for 20 years. And if you look at that, that's $800,000 that has passed through your hands. Now, calculate how much personal savings you have. And then take the personal savings you have and put it over the amount you've earned. And this equals the amount of percentage of income saved. Now, as we know, that is something that is very low. Our savings rate in the United States, especially, is extraordinarily low. So this is an area that we definitely want to take a look at and see what we can do to increase our percentage. Next slide, please. Now, there's 3 accounts that you should, when it comes to savings, there's 3 accounts that you should have. And this is to have a complete savings program. And again, those accounts are emergency fund, contingency, 3 to 6 months of income. And again, with the COVID, it has allowed us to see why this emergency fund is so important to actually be a part of or support our financial game plan. Short-term savings, that's the second. Short-term savings is where we're looking at maybe 1 to 2 years savings, and then long-term savings investments. Sometimes that could be retirement, that could be college, that could be a dream home, that could be a dream trip. So these are 3 separate accounts that we each should have in our savings program to make it complete. Next slide, please. Paying off debt. This has been a mountain. As you can see in the picture, it's like rolling a rock up a hill. Next slide. So the bad news about compounding effective money is that, did you know if you made a one-time $3,000 credit card purchase with an 18% rate credit card and you made no new purchases and only made the minimum payment, do you realize it will take 10 years to pay it off? And you would end up paying over $2,000 in interest charges. So for that purchase, you are actually spending almost twice as much as what you originally purchased it for. See, when you think about a lot of stores today, especially our appliance stores, a lot of them will ask you at the register cash or credit. A lot of them offer you credit cards. Did you know that most of them make most of their money not from the sale of the appliance, but from the credit card you use to purchase it? So as much as we think that they're in the appliance business, they are actually in the financial business of earning income off of the interest that they're charging you for that credit card. So let's think about that the next time we get to the register. Next slide, please. So here's a way to actually reduce your spending. So I'm going to ask you to slide through all of this because it's a click through. But if you have a retail credit card and your total cards are $2,700, this is just an example. Here is how you can actually pay this debt off by something called debt stacking, or another name you may have heard is called snowballing. So if you could slide through, okay, what you would do is you'd pay the first card And again, remember the total amount each month that you're paying for these cards, including your mortgage, is $2,700. So you would take that $220 once that retail card 1 is paid off, place that onto credit card 2, add that together with the minimum payment $353. Now you're paying $573 to the second card. Now the next card, okay, now we're going to target the next card. Next slide. Next, please click the slide. Yes, now we target the next card. And once that credit card 2 has been paid off, we now are going to take that next card and we're going to pay $573, and that'll be $1,100 going towards the next card. Once that's paid off, click please. We now are going to take that next card and pay $1,100 additional from which we had before. So again, the $2,720 never changes. All that we're doing is taking the money that we have from the previous debt and rolling it into the next. And then finally, click one more time. I'm sorry, twice. One more. What will actually happen is we're going to pay that credit card or the debt of that mortgage off. And by paying that debt of that mortgage off, we will be able to save, according to this concept, we'll be able to save well over $130,000 in interest charges and actually 14 years of savings just by using this concept. Again, this is available inside of the book, How Money Works, and we're going to make that available to everyone. Please click the next slide. These are common credit mistakes: not valuing your credit, raising credit card limits, not monitoring your credit history, not monitoring your credit score, not knowing what your interest rates are. So these are common credit mistakes that we wanted to help you to eliminate, to avoid. Next slide. Buying the right kind of life insurance is very important. Next slide, please. The importance of life insurance is, like, if you look at how much your car is worth, do you insure it? How much is your house worth? Do you insure that? Well, the question is, how much is your life worth? Probably a lot more than your car or your house. You cannot afford not to insure your life. If you think about that other slide that said you earn $800,000, well, how would your family survive without your income? That's the importance of life insurance. Please click. So most families are over premium and underinsured because they purchased the wrong type of life insurance. So if you look, term insurance is a lot less, almost half the cost of any other traditional type of insurance. And because of that, you can get almost 75 to 100% more coverage if you use a term insurance product. Next slide, please. So our philosophy is the 3 steps of nevers, or 3 nevers of buying life insurance. Never buy any kind of life insurance that has a cash value, such as whole life or even including universal life. Never buy life insurance as an investment, because it's not a great investment. And never buy life insurance policies that pay dividends. Those are the 3 nevers. Next slide, please. Deferring taxes. So this is this area is an area that actually is the last, but should be the first, because most people are having their taxes removed from their paycheck before they even get their paycheck. Next slide. So do you have an IRA? And if you don't, there are a few choices. There's a traditional that's deductible. There's a traditional that's non-deductible. And then there's the Roth IRA that's non-deductible, but the return on that is actually not taxed at withdrawal. So this is something that you want to talk to a professional about in getting an IRA set up. Which one is best for your situation? Next slide. And this one is a major slide, especially for our young people looking at this particular presentation. This is so powerful because a lot of us don't understand the time value of money. If you look at this slide, I know it's a little small, but in the book, you'll be able to read it more clearly. It simply is showing you that a young person investing from age 22 out to age 27 versus a person 29, a person starting at age 30 and investing all the way to 67, the same amount of money. So that person that did 22 to 29 did $5,500, a total of $44,000. The person that started at 30 went all the way to 67 And that person actually wound up spending, I should say, investing so much more money. But because of the time value of money, that person on the left had over $2 million, and the person on the right had only 1.8 million. Isn't that amazing? And that is why it's so important to understand these concepts. And please, next slide. And becoming an owner, not a loaner, is simply, next slide, please, is simply learning how to have your money work for you and not have a guaranteed loss. So when you look at a traditional bank and you look at putting money into a bank, if you earn interest at $25 a year or 25% on $100, and your net earnings are $75 on a $10,000 investment, you would actually be losing. Okay, let me go back over that again. If you invest 10,000 at 1%, you'd earn 100, but you have to pay $25 in taxes, and then you actually have a net earnings of only $75. Your resulting balance would be $10,075. But if inflation is at 3%, your buying power now is reduced to $97.82. So that means you've actually lost buying power. That just simply means a loaf of bread next year is going to be more than a loaf of bread this year, and you have to keep up with inflation. Next slide, please. So that's why bypassing the middleman and going into the global economy, which a professional money manager can help you do, will allow you to now make a bit better rate of return on your funds so that you can beat inflation. Next slide. Finally, again, you can do it, because the path to financial freedom starts with the understanding of a basic few concepts and then implementing them. Winning the financial war is the result of winning tiny battles day to day. And if you put together a simple plan and follow it, you'll be able to be amazed at the progress you can make. So I want to thank the Independent Authors Book Expo for allowing us to share this. And at this time, next slide, please. At this time, we're going to offer you a free copy of a complete book called How Money Works. You can receive that by contacting us and connecting with us in our social media or on our website, and we will be glad to give a free copy. So again, wonderful program today. Hope this has helped out for you to start to think about your finances in a different kind of way. But again, we have this manual, this book called How Money Works, and it's available to you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Sonia, for that presentation. And now we'll move on to our host, Renee Smith, for the fictions genre group session.
Thank you, Michelle. And thank you, Sonia, for your presentation on building a strong financial house. I hope our listeners really got a lot of information from that. And like Sonia said, we will have the ebook available for you to download. And I think, especially during this time of the pandemic, where a lot of people lost jobs and we're in a dire financial straits. For some people, it is very important for you to be able to get your financial house in order. So even if you're starting now, it is very good for you to get that in place. So as Michelle mentioned, we're moving on to our fiction genre, and we have an awesome lineup of authors here. We'll start off with Miss Athena Dent, and her book is called Emerging Cocoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome.
Hi. How are you?
I'm great, Renee. How are you?
Excellent. Our second author is Miss Marianne Diorio, and her book is called Black and White.
Hello, I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you for coming on, Miss Marianne. Our second author is Mr. Neil Owens, and his book is called Mirrors of Life. Okay. And our next author is Miss Viola Robinson, and Viola Robinson Boone, and her book is called Spivey Davenport. We got that right. Okay, here she goes. Oh, you're on mute. Can you go again, Viola? I think you're on mute. Okay. But are you good now? We'll figure. Oh, I think you have to unmute yourself, Viola.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
It's called Spivey Davenport. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you. And last but not least, we have Miss Yasmin Brown, and her book is I Just Want to Be Normal.
Hello, one and all.
Hello.
Hi, Yasmin. So we just want to welcome our authors, and we'll just get right into it. Can you, Athena, can you just tell us a little bit who? And Mr. Neil Owens.
Hi, hello.
There you go. Hi, Neil.
How you doing? They're great. Thank you.
Good, excellent. Now we're all here. Okay, so we'll just go around the room and just tell a little bit about your book. So we'll start with Athena. Can you just give us a little bit about your book, Emerging Cocoon?
Yes, hi, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the book fair. So I am introducing my book, which is Emerging Cocoon, and it is about 5 generational women who are best friends, but each woman is going through her own individual life challenges, and it's their friendship that helps keeps them bonded. And this is actually a sequel. It's a sequel to Silk. And in this book, they actually take a trip to Belize, and that's when the secrets come out in the friendship.
Ah, okay. Thank you. Marianne, can you just tell us a little bit about your book, Black and White?
Yes, In Black and White is a novel. It's a powerful story of the love between a white woman and a black man and the obstacles they face, both by family and society, against that love. It's a powerful story of overcoming.
Excellent. And Neil, can you just tell us a little bit about your book, Mirrors of Life?
Yeah, it's actually a multiple award-winning novel that vividly explores contemporary experiences of Black people in America through the emotional tale of a mother and her children. This is a tale of faith and perseverance that leads to intrigue when her spiritually inclined and ambitious son, Derek, attempts to build a civic-minded conglomerate that undercuts the retail and gas prices in America.
Oh, wow, wonderful. Yasmin, can you just tell us a little bit about I Just Want to Be Normal?
I Just Want to Be Normal is based off of my daughter's fight with a childhood disease called nephrotic syndrome. And it's about not giving up during the bad times, but fighting through to achieve and accomplish the good times.
Oh, wonderful. Good to hear. And Miss Viola, can you just talk a little bit about the book?
Spivey Davenport is about a little girl who's 4 at the time when she's left in the care of an uncle in Minnesota. And the uncle doesn't like her. He's never liked her. He doesn't like her mother. So when this little girl is left in his care, he decides that he doesn't want her. But nobody in Jersey knows that this child exists, but he does. So he hops on an airplane and goes from Minnesota to West Windsor, New Jersey, and he leaves her on the front porch of her paternal grandparents. The grandparents didn't know the child existed. So I take you through Spivey's life from the time she's 4 until she turns 18. Her mother returns. Her mother is also from Jersey, but her mother returns to Jersey not knowing that her daughter Spivey is there. But her mother continues the relationship with the father, he marries another woman, but he's so in love with Spivey that Spivey doesn't realize that at the end of the book, she killed her father's lover, not knowing that it's her biological mother.
Oh wow. Oh, that sounds like an interesting read. um, Marianne, can you tell us what was the inspiration for your book, Black and White?
Well, I actually got the idea in the 90s, but the Lord told me it wasn't time to write the book. And at the beginning of 2018, I got the go ahead. It was the time to write it. And I was inspired by the racial issues in our country really saddened me. I firmly believe that there's only one race, the human race, that we all descend from the same parents, and that we need to love one another and get along with one another. So that was the inspiration behind my story.
Absolutely, excellent. Neil, of all the characters that you've created in your book, which is your favorite and why? Because I did read your book and there were quite a few characters there. So which one was your favorite?
Yvonne, the mother. And the reason...
The mother.
Yeah, the mother, Yvonne. The reason was she has two sides, and both sides are God-fearing. And one side is Rosa Parks, and the other is Harriet Tubman.
She has that strong silent type, and then she's ready to go.
Yes.
So I think
she makes a comment. It's actually in book 2. And she makes a comment. She says that she's speaking to the antagonist, and she says you should fear the Black woman. And he asks why, and she says because what the Black man hasn't started, she will. And what the Black man doesn't finish, she will.
Yeah. We're going to get in a lot of trouble for that one, but yes, I agree. Athena, are your characters in your book in Cocoon based off of real people, or did they just go entirely from your imagination?
Well, they're based on everyday people. It doesn't matter what the person's educational level, economic status, or one's personal purposes. Everyone has a story. And actually, 3 of the women are a little bit of myself and my own personal life's journey. So I pulled a lot of the characters from my own personal life.
Okay. And Viola, can you tell us a little bit about why this new book is a must read? Why should someone pick this book up?
I think it's a must read because you want to follow Spivey's life. Spivey is a young girl who is innocent of her mother and her father's teenage love. And the things that happen to her are really not her fault. She's thrown into a situation where she has to dig her way out on her own. So none of the characters in my book can can follow why Spivey does what she does. So Spivey, because she's jailed at 18 for attempting to kill a woman she didn't even know existed, it makes her stronger. And it makes her look at the people in her family and how she relates to them differently when she's released from prison.
Okay, excellent. And Jasmine, you mentioned that it was you wrote it because of your daughter. What can you just give us a little bit about how is your daughter doing? You write such a personal book, a fiction book, but now I'm curious. How is she doing, and how do you use this book to help others who are experiencing the same situation?
Well, she is actually doing good. Her kidneys have been in remission for about 6 years now. And the book helps other kids in a way that during their time of being ill, they don't feel that they are normal in so many ways because they can't play outside, they can't have contact connection with other kids, such as if it's a little boy, he can't go play football, or if it's a girl, she can't go play basketball or soccer. They can't really interact with the kids that they want in a way that they want to. So the book is called I Just Want to Be Normal because when my daughter was actually ill, that is something that she said to me because she had to watch other kids play outside through the window, and she just wanted to go play with them. So it helps the kids in a way that they're not alone, and there's other kids that is going through it with them, and just hang in there and keep fighting, and it'll be okay.
Yes, absolutely. And we're glad that your daughter is doing better. And, for all the little ones out there, it's things do get better. They really do.
Thank you.
And we're kind of speeding along, but I wanted to just ask all the authors, paper and pen or computer? So Neil, paper and pen, or do you use a computer to do your writing?
Both.
Both, okay. Yasmin.
Both.
Miss Viola?
I prefer the word technology because I use my iPhone wherever I am, wherever I go. I use my note section on my iPhone. I email my notes to myself and I take them and copy and paste them in my document on my computer.
Okay, I like that. Marianne?
I start on computer, but when I'm working out a plot, I use pencil and paper.
Oh, nice. Me too. I start on the paper, then I go to computer. Una?
I start off and I will continue pen and paper.
Okay. So she's a pen and paper all the way.
And after I finish, then it goes to computer.
Okay, excellent. And we'll just go around the room really quickly and just say where your books can be found. Just tell us where those listening can get your book. Athena, if you could just tell where books are available.
Sure. Emerging Cocoon is available on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and my publisher, BookLocker.com. And it's also available on my website, www.unlimited-artist.com. Thank you.
Excellent. Miss Marianne?
My books are available on my website at mariannediorio.com/book-table. And if you go there, you can have a choice of several venues and get the best price for yourself. They're listed on Amazon, Kobo, Barnes & Noble, Apple Books, Smashwords, and so forth. So if you go to my website, you'll have all those options.
Excellent. Neil?
Yeah, my debut novel is available wherever books are sold online. You can also get an autographed copy of the book by going to my website, www.owenspublishing.com.
Okay. And we have Yasmin?
My books are available at highergroundbooksandmedia.com, barnesandnoble.com, amazon.com, and my website, yarielements.com.
Thank you. And Miss Viola, could you just tell us the name of your book because someone asked? So could you just tell the name of your book?
The name of my book is called Spivey, Davenport, and I have 9 books right now. You can find all of my books on Amazon.com, and I also have a website, www.spivey, SuffolkGirlSpeaks.com.
Okay. Thank you so much to our fiction authors. We really appreciate you. Their information is popping up on the screen right now, but if you did not get it, you can visit our website at iabx.org to get their logging information, their websites, their email addresses, and everything that you need. So thank you to our authors. We hope you enjoyed yourself. And we have coming up is a giveaway.
Hey everyone, Michelle here again. And we will take the final opportunity to win the prize. And I'm taking the so the giveaway for this section is a book from Viola, just in the fiction, one of the authors, Viola, and the book name is called Davenport. So in addition to that, the package will include a mug and a canvas set. So this is a great opportunity to win something like this, something from the author. So how this works again is to assign the number to each registered participant. And then I have an app to randomly generate the number. So when I click that button and the number pops up on the screen, the participant with that matching number is actually going to be the winner of the prize for this giveaway section. So here we go. So the number that comes up is 59. So number 59. So let's see who is the lucky winner here. The lucky winner is Isabel Reyes. So Isabel, you will be winning that package from Viola Robinson Boone, which includes her book, Spivey Davenport, and additional amazing gifts. So you can contact us at iabex@hotmail.com. That's iabex@hotmail.com to claim your prize. And next up is our poet genre group session. So I'll turn it over to our host, Renee Smith. You continue to enjoy the program.
Thank you, Michelle. She's doing an amazing job. She's been practicing and preparing, so we really appreciate her. So last but not least, we have our poetry genre, and we have two poets here. And these two poets, Eshma Ashraf and Esma, and her book is called Shama, the Dancing Flame.
Hi, Renee. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Esma. And our second poet is Mr. Giftus John, and his book is called 2 Weeks, 1 Summer.
Hi, Renee. How are you doing?
Hi, Giftus. So we just want to thank you and welcome you to our event today. And I just should say that Esma and Giftus are winners from prior years of our IABX awards. So we want to give them big shout outs and kudos for winning those awards. This year we weren't able to do it because of COVID, but next year, all being well, we'll be ready and rocking for IABX awards. So we'll just go right into it. Esma, can you just tell us a little bit about your book, Shama the Dancing Flame?
Yes, Renee, it's called Shama the Dancing Flame. It's a poetry book, and it is a very romantic book of poems. It has very spiritual element and some ethnic background, because Shama means in my language flame of the candle. It's like how flame gives light and it rises on the top, and we just love being around the brightness and positive side. So that's what it's about.
Excellent. And Giftus, can you just tell us a little bit about your book?
Yeah, my book is basically poetry of life in the islands where I'm from, and also about my own experiences growing up as a young man. And basically, it's been a matter of sharing my opinions with people.
Excellent. And just tell us a little bit, tell us where you're from, because you mentioned the islands, and I'm an island girl. I'm from Jamaica. So just let us know where you're from, Giftus.
I'm from Dominica.
Woo!
Yeah, from Dominica. Not Dominican Republic, right?
Not Dominican Republic, Dominica. Yes. So Esma, where does your inspiration come from to write your poems?
Well, inspiration, I have to say, I'm a lover for the beauty, and I have the inspiration comes from within my heart and my experiences in life, some very high imagination, and being a different cultural background I have. So that also because I'm an Urdu poet as well. So inspiration is like, I think it's everywhere. It's in the air, it's in the environment, how you breathe, how you live, and all the romance you experience. So all the spirituality, because I'm a very spiritual person. So experience just comes from it within. It's very natural.
Oh, very nice. Gift us what you've been doing poetry for a while. So what poets have inspired you during your journey?
I think basically it was just my own inspiration, really. And I think it started when I was in primary school, when we had to recite all those long poems on a
Yes.
Friday afternoon, and the whole school had to get together. And I kind of, fell in love with it and moved on from there to high school. And I got the opportunity of doing the same thing at high school, just sharing what I knew about poetry with my friends. And then it just picked up from there. And again, there were so many topics that I could write upon. That's the other thing about it. With the islands, you have so much nature, people, the romance, the smells. There's an entire scope of things that you can do as a writer, or you can write about. And I think I have based myself. And even up here, when I write, I still transplant myself to the islands and see what I write, because it's been part of me for a very long time. And even here, you have situations where you find things to write. So I go back and forth all the time and share my own experiences and other people's experiences.
And it's interesting because both of you, Esma and Giftus, are not from the US. You're from other countries, and you bring that element with you when you in your writing. So Esma, what has inspired you on your writing journey? Are there any poets that have inspired you?
You mean poets?
Yes.
Well, because I grew up reading William Wordsworth and Keats and Charlotte Bronte. I'm very much fascinated by British writers, and like talking about flowers and daffodils and mountains and landscapes. So that really, because I grew up reading, and also so if you look at my book, if you read my poetry, you will see there's a lot of scenery and nature and a lot of metaphoricals I used. So I'm inspired by those writers, and also new writers too, contemporary writers. I love Atticus. There's an Indian poet, Rupi Kaur. And for spirituality purpose, I mean, I am a big, huge fan of Rumi. I mean, he is like it's like a god, like a spiritual god to me. So
Okay.
I love him. I love his writing. I mean, there's no comparison.
We're gonna have to take note of these poets and writers that they're speaking of. So, Giftus, is there any writing groups or community of writers that you share your work with?
Not really up here. I am sort of a distant member of group in Dominica.
Okay.
And I share my work back and forth on Facebook with friends, family, other people who are interested. So the other thing is that we have authors from home who post articles on Facebook, so we share each other's point of view, we discuss each other's work. But the distance is one of the issues of trying to meet authors of the same genre, the same liking as you. And I know it's not a very easily grasped aspect now, but you find so much of poetry and music and dance in reggae and everything else. There's poetry everywhere. When Esma was speaking, I was shaking my head. I don't know if you noticed that. Because I remember being in school, which our sister was also British, we had to do works by Wordsworth and Shakespeare and Keats and all those things. And when you get to a certain age, you realize, well, you know what? There is something that they left with us, but we cannot stick with them, so we have to branch out. And I think that's happening with our writers.
And I think that, you know, because I also write poetry, and not to the extent that you guys do, but I do dabble a little in the poetry. So, you know, I think poetry is a very personal and thing where you express yourself and you share a little bit of you every time you write. So, you know, I think that is very interesting to write poetry and the spoken word. We had James Ellerby at the beginning of our pre-show that he does spoken word artists. But I'm going to ask you something, because you're poets, but have you considered writing in another genre?
Yeah, I do fiction.
Okay.
I have a few books published. In fact, I'm working right now on two books at the same, but I should say three of them. Another collection of poetry and two fiction.
Oh,
so I do
we're
that.
going to listen out for them. We're going to listen out for them, Mr. Giftus.
Yeah.
Esma, would you consider writing in another genre?
Yes, I have been writing also short stories, fiction, non-fiction, related to, you know, my experiences and some fiction. So yes, I have been writing short stories as well. And someday I will write, you know, novel. If you know, let's see how it goes.
Well, when you do, come back and share it with us. How about that?
Yeah, I would love to. Thank you.
And then we've been asking all the authors, pen and paper, before I even go to that, someone says, I love the way Esma Ashraf spoke of where she got her inspiration. For those with a passion for something, anything, even living, can be inspiring. Cool. So that is a little kudos to you, Miss Esma. And we also have from Rosita White. She said, Giftus, you are awesome. We respect you for your talent and creativity. So I see Mr. Giftus and Esma, they already have a fan base. So go out and get their books. Yes, inspiration is innate. So before we're wrapping up, so we want to ask you, when you write your poems, do you do pen and paper or do you use the computer? And I guess I should ask, you use your iPhone, your phones?
Well, I use my phone in the notes I use, but because as I write in different language too, so I use pencil and paper too, both.
Okay, excellent. Giftus?
I've been using both. The good thing about both is that you can write away from people, get the thoughts down, erase, scribble if you want to, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then when you use the computer, it means that you have to go with what the flow is. If the computer crashes, then you lose what you have.
Yeah.
That's the bad thing about it. So what I usually do is write, save, or save somewhere else.
Yes.
But the thing is, writing, you know, I think it gives more of a flow when you write. It's just the hand moving. You can close your eyes and just keep writing.
Yeah.
Whereas computer, you got to stop, type, make sure you put this, make sure you put that. But it's the times now, so we've got to be able to, and it saves time too if you can do it on the computer. You know,
yes,
because you have to write and retype and move on. And I know people are not able to do the typing, but you know, those of us who can, it cuts down the job by half.
Okay. So we want to thank you. And before we go, we just want to ask you, where can your books be found?
Go ahead, Esma.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Esma.
Okay, all my books are available on Amazon. I also have with iuniverse.com and virtualbookworm.com. And if you want to get your personal copy, you can get in touch with Giftus. My work's on Facebook. I also have my own website, gjartsandphotos.com. And anybody who's interested in reading some island stuff, reach out to us.
Okay, and Esma?
My book can be found in Amazon. It's also on Kindle and Barnes and Noble online. And also, if you want to purchase, you can buy it through my website. It's esmashraf.com, and you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Okay. We just want to thank these two wonderful poets for being a part of our show. Thank you. We hope you enjoyed what they had to say. And if you want to learn more about them, you can visit our website. You can also visit their website. But if you didn't get that, you can visit our website at iabx.org to learn more about these authors. So thank you, Esma and Giftress, for spending some time with us and sharing your works.
Thank you.
Care.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate it. Great job.
You're very welcome. Take care.
Bye.
All right. All right. Oh my goodness. We had 2 hours of show. So we hope you enjoyed it. I think it's an amazing day. Where I just want to say so excited that we were able to inspire us to move into this virtual space. And there are so many people who want to thank you first and foremost. We want to thank our partners. We want to say thank you to our partners at K University Center for Leadership and Service Department for hosting our virtual children's corner in the same platform. To the many volunteers that manage the various Zoom rooms, we are also grateful to them for supporting our efforts because it's a very important component of our event because literacy is very important to us. And supporters who provided us with giveaways and prizes. Thank you. The presenters, the panelists, and our performers. We added another layer to this event to thank you enough. The authors who shared their work with the different genres. You are the reason we host this event to help promote and empower you on your journey. We wish you much success and encourage those watching this event to go out and support these authors by purchasing their books. We'd like to thank the production team, Stateside Affairs, for pulling this all together. We couldn't have done this without you. I would also like to thank the IAB coordinators and the maximum them here on our program who are instrumentally working on this plan to go virtual and pivoting in the face of social distancing when we weren't able to meet in person. But I think this is even better because we can reach even more individuals in this virtual space. And for those of you who tuned in, last but not least, we'd like to thank everyone who participated today. Those of you who tuned in to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, we thank you for sharing this time with us. We want to just say we truly appreciate you and hope that you enjoy the time spent with us and that you will check out our website, www.iabx.org, for any of the events that we'll be hosting soon. You can hear me well. Hopefully, you heard what I was saying. And we have a lot of other events that are coming up. You can check out our website to check that out so that you can hear. We can check that out. You can visit us. We have our weekly IABX Writers Cafe and our monthly IABX author speakers will be starting up soon. And we're hoping that you will just tune in and listen up for all the things that we have to hear from you. We thank you again for being here and for spending some time with us. We hope you enjoyed yourself. Thank you again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you. Take care. Be safe. Until next year, when hopefully we can be in person. We appreciate you again. My name is Renee Smith, and I'm the CEO and founder of IABX. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at IABX Authors. They were saying that I'm Sonia a little bit muffled. Production team, can you switch and put
someone else in and feeding back so that maybe something that will work so that we can work it really well. Can you put Michelle in and put her out? See if you can get it if I'm still muffled. Am I still muffled? Can you still hear me? Thank you so much. Take care, enjoy, and be well. And you can see I'm also